Watchtower?
A New Year's Eve edition of What's Up, Watchtower. Today we just are coming to you guys with, I guess, just wrapping up the end of the year, talking about the stuff that's happened. And I wanted to kind of start it off with something that I just thought was funny. I'm a member of a lot of JW groups on Facebook, like real JW groups. And I saw a posting in one of the groups that I just thought, we have to talk about this. We have to talk. So Robin hasn't seen this. She doesn't know anything about it. The whole point of this was I thought it would be great to this is kind of a snapshot into the mind of the average current Jehovah's Witness. This is what they think. This is what they believe. And in order to set this up, I'm just going to go ahead and read the initial comment. I'm going to leave the original person's name out. And let's get started. Let me just kind of let you know what's happening.
Okay.
Okay. This is a person who was raised in the truth and has been baptized for 47 years. Okay. So, here we go. Jehovah's Witnesses are often mistaken to be something else. Some say it is a secret cult, while others believe something else.
Something else?
And something else.
Oh.
I'm very proud to tell you, my readers, that I am one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Below are 17 facts that show Jehovah's Witnesses is not a cult. Now, I'm reading exactly the way that it's written. So.
Okay.
Okay, so here are 17 facts that show Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. You ready for this?
Okay.
Number 1. There are currently about 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses around the world. Fact number 1 to prove that Jehovah's Witnesses is not a cult.
Okay.
There's 8 million of them. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, just because there are 8 million of you does not mean that it is not a cult. As has come to light in recent years, as more information about cults has come out, North Korea is considered a political cult. And how many North Koreans are there?
A lot.
A lot more than 8 million.
The thing that I thought was funny is that the one thing has nothing to do with the other.
Correct. The number in the whatever organization it is has no bearing on whether it is or is not a cult. So, fact number 1, fail.
Gotcha. Fact number 2.
Okay.
An average of over 800 people become Jehovah's Witnesses daily. That's it.
That may be a fact, but that is not proof that you're not a cult. Fail.
Right. And also, in one of the latest videos from jw.org, either it was the broadcasting or one of the morning service meetings or something, that the brother said there are almost 500 daily and not 800 daily. That it was almost 5,000 people per week. And this person is coming up with a number way greater than that. So I just thought that was interesting to mention too.
Yes, it's really hard to nail down their facts because they change day to day.
Fact number 3.
Okay.
We keep coming to your doors, even though we have regular jobs and family like you, because we are admonished to do so by Jesus Christ. That's proof that it's not a cult, right?
Once again, that is just something that you feel that you have to do because your organization, the leadership in your organization is telling you you have to do this. You have to count your time. You cannot be irregular. If you become irregular, boy, the elders are going to be knocking on your door. Where is that service time? We need your time. So that does not prove that you're not a cult.
Again, it has nothing to do with the claim that this organization is not a cult.
Correct.
Okay, fact number 4. We do not participate in wars, and for this reason, more than 1,600 Jehovah's Witnesses were killed by Hitler.
Doesn't prove you're not a cult. One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah.
You know, there are other organizations that are pacifist organizations that are cults, who, you know, don't go to war either, but they're still a cult. Sorry, fail.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting the way it's worded too. 1,600 Jehovah's Witnesses killed by Hitler.
Killed by Hitler.
You mean they were killed in, or they died in the Nazi concentration camps, or due to his stuff? I don't think Hitler was walking around with a gun just popping people.
And yeah, we could get into a lot of stuff about Hitler and the Jehovah's Witnesses, but let's not get there yet.
We pay attention now so much to the way things are worded, the way people write things, the way the statements are written from the society. So I just find myself paying extra attention to the way things are written and worded in these statements. But fact number 5.
Oh.
There are currently over 300 Jehovah's Witnesses in prison in South Korea and Egypt because they refuse to stop preaching or enlist in the military. Proof that they're not a cult. Do we even need to say anything?
Nope.
Fact number 6. We don't salute the flag or say national anthems because we pledge our allegiance only to God. And I'm going to say they pledge their allegiance only to the organization.
Yeah.
So that sounds more culty than less culty to me.
Right. Because, you know, they reworded the baptismal questions that you, instead of getting baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now, how is it
the
worded?
The Father, the Son, and this God's Spirit-directed organization here on earth.
So you're when you answer the questions to the baptismal talk, do you recognize, you know, this and that? You are pledging your allegiance to this organization, and that is a lifelong commitment, which sounds a little culty, doesn't it?
Yeah. Number 7. Fact number 7. Why Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. Fact. Yes, we have fun and party too, so don't get that twisted.
What?
That's it. That is the fact that can prove Jehovah's Witnesses aren't a cult. Yes, we have fun and party too, so don't get that twisted.
Well, I've seen Tom Cruise partying at those Scientology conventions and parties.
Don't get that twisted.
Don't get that twisted. Is he in a cult?
Fact number 8. God, I can't believe we've only gone through 8 of these already. There's 17 of them. Not many of us know the names of all the government body of the headquarters because we do not pay any reference to him. He is a fellow servant of God, just like the rest of us are. And again, I'm reading it exactly as it's written.
So not all of them know, which is quite funny because most of us so-called apostates know every single one of the governing body members. Not government body members, governing body members. And that's the problem. Most witnesses don't even know their own religion. So trying to reason with them, trying to show them information about from their own publications, they won't even look at their own publications to look at, you know, what their own organization has written about itself.
Yeah,
so,
they don't look at any past literature.
No.
Even stuff a year or two old is now actually outdated in most cases.
So, well, just because you don't know who's telling you what you need to be doing and telling you that you have to shun your disfellowship family members just because you don't know their name, shame on you, actually. Shame on you for not knowing who is at the very top of this leadership, who is writing these things, who is saying we're not inspired, but we're spirit directed.
Yeah, it's laziness in a lot of ways. And this is, I'm not going to categorize all Jehovah's Witnesses this way, but to the one person who wrote this, who is on this JW Facebook page, that is not something I'd be proud of. We don't know who's running this ship. We don't know who's steering the ship. And we don't care.
We don't know. We don't care.
Yeah, so that's just laziness to me. You
Yeah.
know, you don't know who's running the organization. You don't know who the spirit-directed men are who are running the organization. Shame on you, man.
Yeah, shame on you, because they're Jehovah's only channel of communication on earth. So you ought to know who they are.
You ready for fact number 9?
Sure.
Fact number 9. You earn the privilege of becoming a Jehovah's Witness. It is not given to you. It is not given to you or passed down.
Ah,
Well, that's not true, because I got the gift of being a Jehovah's Witness and it was passed down.
yes. As was I. I was simply raised in it. It's all I ever knew. I didn't have to earn anything. I just answered some questions from a book based upon their doctrines, and I got all the questions right, and they confirmed that I was ready to be baptized at 15 years old.
Did you have to study for those questions?
A little bit.
I mean, really?
No.
No, because, you know, growing up in the organization, you know all of these things already. The stuff that you get asked for the baptismal questions is nothing deep.
No.
It's nothing deep. It's like, what is God's name? It's Jehovah. You're ready to get baptized. It's I mean, I'm exaggerating, but, you know, it's that type of a thing. It's very simple. So young children have no problem zipping through that test, you know?
And let's just stop right here. That you have to earn the right to become one of Jehovah's Witnesses. People, have you taken a look at all at Scientology? They have to earn the crap out of that. They pay thousands of dollars. They go through all of this monitoring and the confessional type, you know, sitting with an auditor. And, I mean, they have to earn their right to be a Scientologist. If anybody does, they're earning it, and they're literally monetarily having to earn their right. So that also fails.
Fail.
Yes.
Fact number 10 of why Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. We sin too.
What? That's it?
That's it.
We sin too. What?
Yes.
We sin, therefore we are not a cult.
Wrap your head around that one.
I don't understand. Okay, next.
All right. And again, I'm reading this exactly as it is written. Fact number 11. 1 out of every 455 Nigerian is a Jehovah's Witness, and 1 out of every 262 American is a Jehovah's Witness.
I can't take this person seriously.
I know.
They don't know what a cult is.
They don't know what a fact is.
Well, they may know may know a statistic, but a statistic does not have anything to do with proving something is a cult or not.
Yeah, they misunderstand. Okay, number 12. We're getting to the end here. Bottom third. Number 12, the facts of why Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. Number 12, every year more people read our monthly magazine than any other magazines in the world. I'm questioning the validity of that.
I don't believe that.
No, I know, but I'm just reading it as it is.
I don't believe that.
But even if it were true,
But even if it were true,
it doesn't prove anything.
it doesn't prove anything.
And I don't believe it.
I don't think that statistic is correct. But either way, whether it's correct or isn't correct does not prove that you're a cult or not a cult.
Fact number 13.
Oh, jeez.
To prove why Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. Fact. Not until 2 years ago, Jehovah's Witnesses were the only religion required to pay taxes in France.
They're the only religion required to pay taxes in France.
I can't understand what he's trying to say because the way it was worded. Not until 2 years ago, Jehovah's Witnesses were the only religion to pay taxes in France. I don't understand what he's saying, but either way, it doesn't matter.
Whether you have to pay taxes in the country you're in or not does not make you a cult or not a cult.
Has nothing to do with it.
Has nothing to do with it. Okay.
Fact number 14. Do you know, as a Jehovah's Witness, I could visit China and spend a night at any Jehovah's Witnesses without either of us feeling suspicious of each other?
What? Well, I have so much to say about this, but why don't you just go back and listen to Susan Gaskin's story about when she was a full-time pioneer as she took a trip to Bethel, to New York, and she could not find a hotel room. There were circumstances that occurred, and she called the headquarters because she was right there in New York. She says, I'm trying to find a hotel, and she couldn't find a hotel room. And they were all booked up. Can't help you. Well, you know, phone call after phone call.
She's like, but brother, I'm a regular pioneer.
I'm a regular pioneer. Can't help you, sister. Can't help you. And, I mean, they could have reached out to someone in a congregation nearby to say, hey, can you help this sister out? She's, you know, very strange circumstances that happen. Not her fault, but it just so happened that she was sort of stranded there. And they wouldn't even do that. They would not lift a finger to help her. Now, that's your headquarters. That is where it all comes from. That is the Bethel, the height of heights of spirituality in this organization. That if you make it there, you can make it anywhere in this organization. And they would not lift a finger to help one of their fellow members who was a regular pioneer.
The thing I thought was really interesting about that story also was it's not like they didn't have a bed or a room, because if she were a special pioneer,
Correct.
they would have let her stay. They
Correct.
wanted to see what her qualifications were in the ministry, like what her status was, because if she were a special pioneer, she would have been allowed to stay there. They would have made accommodations for that, and they grilled her about her pioneer status. So that's interesting too. There's a hierarchy. If you're at a certain level, you get certain benefits. And if you're not at that level, well, keep warm and well fed.
Exactly. So that also fails. You know, this brother who wrote this, I challenge you, if you by any chance watch this video, buy a one-way ticket to China and try to find Jehovah's Witnesses there and see if they'll take you in. Don't take any baggage with you. Go, just show up. See what happens.
Have faith in God's organization.
Yeah.
Show your faith. Put your faith to the test. And just hop on a one-way flight.
Yep, that they'll take you in, they'll feed you, they'll clothe you, and that they'll help get you back to the United States. Interesting experiment.
I think that guy would never come back. He'll be gone. Talk about an idiot abroad. All right. So, fact number 15. We're coming down this back stretch here.
I can't wait.
Fact. And this isn't just a fact. This is a fact that proves Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. Last year, Jehovah's Witnesses around the world spent a total of 1,841,180,235 hours preaching.
Okay. How much time did Trump and all of his volunteers spend on his campaign?
1 billion hours.
We got the best volunteers.
And we're coming up on a couple of doozies here. Okay?
You mean those weren't doozies? Oh my goodness.
This one I think is my favorite one. I don't know why, but it just is. And now, keep in mind, and I know I've said this 500 times, but this is a fact that proves Jehovah's Witnesses are not a cult. Fact number 16.
Okay.
We own one of the largest printing press in the world, the MEPS, and yet none of our publications are for sale. None of their publications are for sale. Not none, none. None of them are for sale.
None of them are for sale. Well, they get a lot of money somehow. They got a lot of money somehow.
One of the biggest printing presses proves they're not a cult. And
We
here
got
it is.
the best. We got the biggest.
Our printing press is spectacular. It's fabulous. We get the best press. You ready? Mm-hmm. Number 17. Fact. The first motion picture ever made with sound and color were produced by Jehovah's Witnesses. The photodrama creation by Russell. Am proud to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. First of all,
It wasn't Jehovah's Witnesses.
You go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
That was the Bible students. That was the Bible students. They're a different organization. That's the first thing. The second thing is, for the time, the technology was great. But does that prove that you're not a cult? Does that prove that you're the true religion? It doesn't have the two don't have anything to do with each other. We've said this before. I mean, Steve Jobs must be a freaking messiah because he came up with the iPhone and the iPad. These computers that used to cost tens of thousands of dollars, you now have in your hand.
You see people driving around that have the Apple stickers on the back of their car.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a certain, they call it the religion of Apple. People who are really into Apple, it's obviously just a goof on words, but there are people who are seriously into that stuff.
That's crazy. I'll be right back. So I didn't know what this was going to be all about when Mike says, I want to make a video and I just want to get your off-the-cuff reactions to this. But, I mean, this is the mindset of a typical Jehovah's Witness, that they have no clue what a cult really is. But Jehovah's Witnesses, when a cult expert like Stephen Hassan says, guess what, Jehovah's Witnesses, you are a cult. I believe him because he's dedicated his life to studying cults and coming up with something called the BITE model, B-I-T-E, that lays out what the characteristics of a cult are. And he's looking at cults not just in religious senses, but also in politics and other organizations that display these cult-like characteristics.
High control groups.
They're high control groups with undue influence on their members. So when someone like Stephen Hassan, who spent his life studying cults, he had belonged to a cult at one point in his life, and he is a psychologist and an expert in this field. When he breaks down why Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult, that's when you know, yeah, they're a cult. It makes sense. And so, you know, these witnesses, they've never even studied that. They don't know what experts have said about them. And they're going on just what they've been told how to feel about their religion.
I was just going to say, it's all feel-good stuff.
It's all feel-good stuff.
It's all sizzle and no steak.
Right.
You know?
But when you realize, when you start to question anything about the organization, about the teachings, and you're not allowed, you're allowed to ask questions, but you're not allowed to question the answers. You have to accept the answers. And that's when you know that you're in trouble, that this is undue influence over an organization and people. So we have a lot more to say about cults and about Jehovah's Witnesses and about their teachings and about their policies and practices. And, you know, 2016 has been an interesting year for us. We would never have thought that any of this would have happened.
Nope.
And, you know, despite everything, it's really been one of the best years of my life. And it's freeing to be able to finally speak your mind and to be able to communicate with so many of you who have been through similar things as we have and who have done the kind of research that we have. And it's so great to be able to, you know, connect with all of you, because for so many years, you know, we were disconnected from anybody who felt the way that we did, who knew the things that we did. Mm-hmm. So this has really been one of the best years of our life. And, you know, we got so much planned for the upcoming year, videos that we want to make, things that we're doing more investigation into. And, mm-hmm. You know, we're really trying to spend as much time as that is possible in doing research. And, you know, so it'll be interesting. And possibly we're going to be doing some joint endeavors with another YouTuber that might prove to be interesting and funny, and hopefully we'll, you know, wake up some witnesses. You never know.
Yeah. And we've also noticed this year that being out of the organization for us for such a long period of time, that was one thing. That was like at one level. Mm-hmm. But being able to feel publicly free to express your thoughts and opinions and to agree to disagree with people, just to be able to be a human being, not have to hide what we think, not have to hide what we say, and not have to watch every word, not like walking around on eggshells mm-hmm. around people. It feels really liberating when you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
And that is the big takeaway this year for me. That even though I haven't been to a meeting in years, even though I haven't considered myself a Jehovah's Witness for years, pardon me, it was the action of taking this step and saying, it's not only that I don't believe this, but I see things that are wrong. Mm-hmm. I do not want other people to fall into this trap. I don't want young people to live their teen years and 20s and 30s before finding out that they've wasted their youth. You know, there's a lot of reasons, but being able to talk freely about it has given me a sense of feeling of freedom that I haven't had before this. Even though I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness, it's a different thing. You know, so yeah. That's been good.
Right. You know, and obviously, you know, we wish that our families could just accept who we are and agree to disagree the way that, you know, we have friends of other faiths and belief systems and political beliefs, religious beliefs, and it's only an issue if you make it an issue. Mm-hmm. To us, it's a non-issue because it's just like, okay, we agree to disagree, and we love you on so many other levels, and we can have a relationship with you. And you know, it's only an issue if you make it an issue.
Yeah, and it's with friends and stuff. It's like beyond the part of just agree to disagree. That's kind of how I feel like about my parents. Like we could agree to disagree. When it comes to my friends and stuff, I don't care what you believe. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you believe in the flying spaghetti monster, and I don't care if you dance outside naked on a full moon. I don't care. It makes no difference to me as far as you as a human being.
Right.
And I have certain friends that we have discussions about religion and politics, and we don't necessarily agree, and it's fun to have those conversations. It's fun to think about other people's views and opinions, and I don't have to try and prove a right or a wrong because I don't care. It's just an interesting conversation. People expressing ideas to each other. Mm-hmm. And it's without the context of converting someone or convincing someone, which if you've always got that in the back of your mind, how can you really be a true friend to anyone when you really want something from them and you're just working an angle until you get it? You know?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've promoted through our Facebook page And also, I think we posted onto our YouTube channel a video by this new YouTuber named Fifth is the name of his channel, and he did a great interview with someone that he grew up with that was not a witness, that proved to be really a true friend to him through all these years. And if you haven't watched his video, I'm going to put a link below, because it is well worth it to watch it, because it just proves to you that these so-called worldly people, that they are really good, and that they care about you, and that they will do what they can to help you. And you know, the part in that video that was so interesting is that his friend, whose name I believe is Nate, really just wanted to spend time with his friend, and this young witness was pioneering, and he needed to finish getting his time in service. And he says, I can't hang out with you, I've got to finish getting my time in service. And his friend says, well, why don't you come and talk to me about the Bible? Can you get your time that way? And so that's what he did. Can you imagine? He doesn't believe in, agree with anything that the witnesses, but because he cares about his friend, he let him study the Bible with him just so that he could spend time with his friend.
Yeah, and that was a person who throughout this guy's life was always there in the background, always a supportive figure throughout his life.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, having watched that, it made me kind of bummed, man. I mean, when I was young, I had a lot of really good Jehovah's Witness friends. But when you're young, when you're 12, 13, 14 years old, it's different than being 18, 19, 20 years old. It's a whole different ballgame. And I never had friends like this dude when I was older. Well, no, I take that back. It wouldn't be fair. I probably had one or two, but I had a lot of people burn me, in the truth. A lot of people burned me that were supposed to be best friends. So
yes, I got burned a lot growing up. So it just goes to show you, though, that the lies that are told about people in the world, and it's just hateful, and coming from this organization, because they don't want you to think for yourself. So they have to keep you in check, and that includes keeping who you're allowed to associate with in check.
And for you Jehovah's Witnesses out there, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I had thoughts like this, so I'm sure you probably did too. I think we all have. You meet a person who's a worldly person, and you say to yourself, man, if that person was only a Jehovah's Witness, I'm sure we could be really good friends. Well, why don't you just be friends with that person? Why don't you take the first step to build a real friendship with somebody who wants it, regardless of what their belief system is? Why don't you take the chance and see how that could turn out? You already like the person, you already feel like, well, we could be friends if they were a witness. Well, why don't you just take that to the next level and actually just be friends with the person? Why don't you go out for coffee, go out for lunch, have them over for dinner, whatever you guys do. But you're missing the opportunity to have a good, true friend. Mm-hmm. You see it right there. You're like, wow, this person's awesome. If they were only a Jehovah's Witness, well, why don't you take that out of the equation and be a friend yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately with most witnesses, their agenda is always going to be to try to slip in some witnessing where they can. And that's not being a true friend, because you've got an agenda and you're trying to change somebody when they don't want to be changed. And you're doing it in a very dubious way, without them knowing that that's what you're trying to do and that's what your agenda is. So unfortunately, witnesses, they don't know. And I hate to say this, I really do, but in my experience, witnesses don't know how to be true friends to anybody who doesn't think exactly like they do. And even then, if that person stops thinking exactly the way they do, then I had it happen to me. Someone who was a very dear friend, when I was starting to question things and starting to verbalize those things, you're talking like an apostate, and I don't know if I can continue to be around you. And, that person's not in my life anymore.
Mhm.
So, that just showed that those friendships are conditional.
Yep.
So, anyways, we just wanted to make a video to get up and wish everybody a happy new year, because we can do that now. And here's to 2017. It's going to be a great year.
Yep.
Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.